Welcome back, welcome back. In 1999, Pakistan's ruling Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif was ousted in a coup by President, then General, Musharraf, and sent into exile. In September last year, he felt the time was ripe for his return. But just hours after his plane landed, he was again deported by President Musharraf, that quickly. Well, now he's back. The party he leads is fighting the election, though the constitution currently bars him from again becoming Prime Minister, just 2 terms allowed currently. I spoke to him in Islamabad and I asked him if he thought the elections would be free and fair.
Well, I don't think so, because Mr. Musharraf cannot afford to hold free and fair elections because he knows that his party, his King's party, doesn't enjoy any support in the masses. And it's not a political party, it's not a proper political party. It is a group of certain individuals who have formed a small party, and it doesn't enjoy any support at the grassroots level. It doesn't have any vote bank. So Mr. Musharraf knows that he cannot survive unless he rigs the elections, so he's fully prepared and geared to rig these elections.
If by any chance there was an approach to you to form a sort of, your party, a sort of coalition with Musharraf's party, or semi-party as you were saying, could you ever imagine working closely with him? Because you don't really get on, the two of you, do you, really?
Well, there's no personal vengeance, or there's no personal vendetta against Mr. Musharraf. It's not a personal, you see, battle going on between me and him. I can certainly work with him, provided he agrees to withdraw the PCO that he came up with on the 3rd of November 2007, when the judges were sacked, when the judiciary was house arrested, and when he appointed a new judiciary which owes allegiance to Mr. Musharraf and not to the state. And if he agrees on restoring the constitution back to its position of 1973, or let's say 12th October 1999, I'll be very happy to talk to him, to sit down with him.
Well, that's very interesting, the thought that you could work with him, but you've got quite a list of serious conditions there, haven't you?
But these are the conditions which, of course, are a must if we have to have democracy in Pakistan. If we are to go back to the rule of law, if we really are to have a sovereign parliament, if we are to have an independent judiciary, then of course it is a must. And today in Pakistan, the independence of judiciary is very strongly linked to its restoration, and it cannot attain independence unless it is restored. So I think the whole civil society of this country is struggling for the restoration of judiciary. The lawyers community is unanimous on this. The human rights activists are struggling. Everybody today in this country is struggling, and struggling hard for the restoration of justice. I think this is the most important, the single most important issue in Pakistan today.
And what would you say is the main difference in policies? You both believe in democracy, but in policies between the PPP and your party, the PMLN. What are your differences in policies going into an election?
Well, they say that they believe in independence of judiciary. We say that, yes, we also believe in independence of judiciary, but the restoration of the judges is a must, because as I told you earlier, the independence of judiciary is heavily dependent on its restoration. So the Chief Justice is out of office. Mr. Musharraf has no authority under the law and under the Constitution to remove any judge of any court. What to talk about the Chief Justice of Pakistan. 60 judges in one stroke of pen were removed by Mr. Musharraf. So this is the main difference of opinion. We are trying to talk to the People's Party that they also should agree on the restoration, as does the entire civil society of Pakistan, so that we can really move forward to establish democracy in this country and abandon military's role in politics forever, because the Constitution of Pakistan forbids that. Their own oath forbids them from taking part into politics.
And what would you say, in terms of your point of view and in terms of democracy, what would be the best result?
Well, I think the main context is going to be between the two of us, ourselves and the People's Party. Because the Q League, the official league, which I call the Musharraf League, doesn't figure anywhere. And it has no vote bank. They may be having a few candidates, but their own vote bank is not enough to enable them to win their seats in the parliament. So the national, international surveys are also saying the same thing. And the latest survey carried out is that the two main parties will have 72% of the total strength in the parliament, and the Musharraf's Q League doesn't have more than 15% of the total votes in the country.
And if your party were, as you say, if the contest was really between you and the PPP, and your party happened to prevail, would you seek to change things so that you could step in as Prime Minister again?
I'm not looking for an office, Sir David. I want to put the country back on the rails first. I think the fundamental thing is to restore the Constitution of 1973, which was unanimously passed by all the political parties. And the fundamental thing is to give back the independence of the judiciary. The fundamental thing is, of course, to ensure a free press in Pakistan. This is more important than becoming Prime Minister. This is more important than forming a government. This is more important than having a government, having a cabinet in Pakistan. I think once we're able to do that, then of course we can think about these things.
Do you think, Nawaz, do you think that in a year's time, General Musharraf will still be the President of Pakistan? Or indeed, do you think it's important that he's not President of Pakistan in a year's time?
It's not a personality clash. I'm not looking at it as any personal animosity between me and him. I am talking of the institutions and I'm talking of the principles. The country is more important than any individual. And I think if Musharraf is to stay in power or not, let that decision be taken by the judiciary of the country, which was unceremoniously and illegally, unconstitutionally sacked by Mr. Musharraf, because that case was being heard by them and the decision was to be given by that judiciary. If that judiciary holds or rules in his favor, we have no objection. But I think the decision will have to be given by the judiciary, which was sacked by Mr. Musharraf on the 3rd of November 2007 under a new PCO and under an emergency order.
And if it was perceived by people that your party or the PPP had been cheated, that the election was not free and fair, would there be a danger, do you think, of the aftermath being the same in Pakistan as it was in Kenya?
I hope that doesn't happen. I hope the elections are not rigged. I only wish and pray that he holds free, fair and transparent elections. But Sir David, you should know that my papers, my nomination papers for the elections have been rejected by the Election Commission. And there's no reason to reject those papers, because my papers, while I was sitting in Jeddah 5 years ago in 2002 when the last elections were held, my papers were accepted. What went wrong in these 5 years which has led to the rejection of my papers this time? The Election Commission cannot do that, doesn't have the courage to take such a drastic step. It is only on the orders of Mr. Musharraf that this has been done. And I think this was meant to discourage our people, demoralize our voters, and to boost up the morale of the King's Party, because Mr. Musharraf knows that the King's Party enjoys no support in the people. So this is what he has done to our party. So I wish and pray that he doesn't rig the elections. Otherwise, if he does that, the implications can be grave not only for him, but also for the country. We lost one part of our country in 1972, East Pakistan, which became Bangladesh, because we didn't accept the mandate of the people of Pakistan.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sir David. Thank you very much indeed.
Well, with me now, watching those two interviews, is Maria Kusisto, a Pakistan analyst for the Eurasia Group. And so welcome back, Maria.
Thank you.
You're an analyst, so how do you analyse what they had to say?
Well, a couple of interesting points, David. I would say that the two leaders are clearly slightly overestimating their popularity. I think they are very, very popular, but how that will translate into a National Assembly seats remains to be a big question.
Although the PPP will outvote Nawaz Sharif's party, won't they?
Well, I think that PPPs like to win the largest block of seats in the National Assembly.
Right.
But there are several factors that will impact the vote. I think secondly, what we saw was very much pre-election rhetoric. And all of them are sort of very critical about talks with Musharraf and particularly with the Pakistan Muslim League Q. But I think come post-elections political setting, they will need to negotiate and keep all avenues open, particularly Sardari and the PPP. Thirdly, I would say interesting point about the interview was the fact that they seem to be declining from the honor of becoming prime ministers. And I think, again, this is pre-election rhetoric, and they are both facing challenges to their premiership. But I think, you know, in years' time, I think both of them are likely to try to gain the ultimate cherry on top of the cake.
Well, we've got in a moment or two, a bit later on, someone who does admit that they want to be the leader of Pakistan sooner or later. That's Imran Khan. But that comes up a little bit later on in our special. See you then.